What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Picks and Roll DFS, powered by Betr. Here, our mission is simple: make the picks, build the roll. I've got a 3-play card for you for today, Sunday, August 24th, in the NBA. Let's break it down. First, we're going to go with Brittney Sykes, lower than 18.5 points plus rebounds. Let's go to Outlier, check out some of this data to see why we should go with the lower on Brittney Sykes, 18.5 points plus rebounds. All right, so first couple things. Always want to check the lines compared to others. We can see that this morning when it first started, it was at 17.5. And now we see that we saw that it started at 18.5. And then about 30 minutes later, it immediately was dropped to 17.5 because a lot of people were playing that lower. But on Underdog, it is still at 18.5. But if we track that line movement and kind of mirror those same things, we can take the under, which is what we're doing now. You want to do it as fast as you can, because just like we saw that line move in 30 minutes from 3 a.m. to 3:35 a.m. on Hard Rock, same thing can happen on Underdog. We can see that it's a huge favor in comparison to Underdog's normal lines at minus 120, and then even bigger on Sleeper at minus 154. Now, don't know how much WNBA you guys are watching or aware of, but Brittney Sykes was previously just this season on the Washington Mystics, where she had a bit of a larger role. Still a bit inconsistent, but had a larger role there. Now she was traded to the Seattle Storm, and now she's obviously playing her old team. Let's check some of the stats out for today. So we can see the last 10 games, she's gone below this line 8 out of 10 times for 80% hit rate. In her last 20, she's gone below this line 15 out of 20 times for 70%, averaging 14 and a median of 14 as well. And then if we look at the season as a whole, you can see that she was pretty hot in the beginning of the season, crushing this line, like going way above this line. But as the season went on, she kind of tapered off and dropped a bit. And now you can see her average is 18, and then the median, even with all those big spikes, is 15.5. Then a couple of things that we can also see. She will get some solid minutes. As you see, she's around 31 minutes per game. But here are some cool insights and data that we want to look at. First, she has exceeded 17.5 in 7 of her last games versus bottom 5 defenses for rebounds allowed. Keep in mind, she can still go above 17.5 points plus rebounds and still hit our line, if that kind of makes you a little nervous. Then another thing, we can see those key matchups. And we can see, being a guard, we can see all these previous unders. A majority of these guards from opposing teams have hit their unders against the Washington Mystics lately, which just adds to our point. So we have Brittney Sykes lower than 18.5 points plus rebounds. All right, real quick, before we get into pick 2, I just want to remind you guys again, for Pikkit, it's a great place to track all your bets. This is a place for sharp bettors, smart bettors. They use this platform to track their bets, see what they're doing well, see what they need to work on. What type of sports do you bet more in, or are you more successful in, etc. I check it every day. And you can follow my record ROI and slips in real time. You can also do the same for yourself, and it is free. All you have to do is download Pikkit and use code LOB to get in. That's where I'm fully transparent with everything I play. And then yesterday just earned a top 5% better for yesterday's plays. So again, join Pikkit, use code LOB. All right, pick 2. We have Kelsey Mitchell going higher than 18.5 points. Now, if we go and check those lines, huge favorite on Underdog at minus 207. You can see that you can't even play this play on other DFS platforms because it sounds like, although there's nothing is guaranteed in sports betting, they feel like it's a guarantee on other platforms, which is why you can't bet it there. And let's see why. Let's look at some of the data. Over our last 10 games, Kelsey Mitchell has gone higher than 18.5 points 6 out of 10 times with an average of 21.5 and a median of 23.5. Last 20. She's gone above this line 14 out of 20 for 70%. Again, averaging 21 and median of 22. Very consistent amongst both. And then head-to-head, we can see that there's only 2 games that are from this season, but then you can obviously see that there were some games from last year. Minnesota's team hasn't changed too much, so you can kind of look at that data, as well as the Indiana Fever they have pretty similar teams from last year, so you can kind of look at that data and see that 4 out of 5 head-to-head matchups going above this line, 4 out of 5, average 20.8 and a median of 21. And then the season as a whole, going above this line, a little bit over 50%, 57% for 21 out of 37. Again, ranging or averaging around that 20-point mark. Additionally, she has exceeded 20.5 points in 4 of her last 5 games, averaging 25.8. One of those key reasons is because Caitlin Clark has been out, so Kelsey Mitchell has taken on much more of a responsibility for scoring and has done a great job. She's averaging like 3 or 4 3-pointers a game. In her last game, she went absolutely off. So she can taper down. I believe she made like 27 points. She can taper down and still hit our line of 18.5. And we can see points versus Minnesota. As I just mentioned, she did make 27 points last game. And other solid guards, Lexi Hall went off. This was like nearly a career night for her, which was crazy. Ryan Howard, she just got back from injury and still went above her line. Alicia Gray, Natasha Cloud, etc. Now Sabrina, they kind of tapered because she was literally the only player for the team, especially with Breanna Stewart out. You have Cloud, and so Cloud scored her points, but they kind of forced Sabrina to pass the ball a lot more. Now, Kelsey has other threats because they do like a lot of pick and roll. They do a lot of horns action where they give the ball to like Natasha Howard or Aaliyah Boston on the elbows, and then she gets the ball back. So there's a lot of opportunities for her to play off ball, which gives Kelsey Mitchell more opportunities to score. All right, and as you see, for all these plays that I give you every single day, I am using Outlier because here you can see the hit rates, the matchup data, and projections in seconds. If you want to try it, head to outlier.bet and use code LOB at sign up to get started. And then before we get into our last pick of the day, just want to remind you about the deal on Betr. If you play $10, you get $30 instantly using code DIME if you are a new user. And for today only, you've got an Aaron Judge free pick. He only needs to have less than 99.5 home runs to win. Pair that with these WNBA plays, and you're good to go. Plus, send me your sign-up screenshot to picksandrolldfs@gmail.com, and I'll give you a full month of my VIP plays and Winnable, completely free. All right, last play for today. We have Napheesa Collier higher than 24.5 points plus rebounds. Now, I know that she is just coming off of injury, so this play, if you're a little cautious because of that and don't want to play it at this line, you can always, especially like on Underdog and on platforms like PrizePicks and Betr, you can always drop it down a bit if they have those options. Obviously, on PrizePicks, it'll be like a Goblin. On Betr, it'll be like one of those boosted plays. And then on Underdog, if you just click it, you can choose one of the lower options just to give you a little bit more of a conservative play. If you don't want to play it right at that over 24.5. That's what I did with the Kelsey Mitchell. And so that's why I'm playing this one at the solid line. So it gives you a bit more of a better payout. But if you want to drop this one as well, by all means, it is your choice. But this is what I am playing, higher than 24.5 points plus rebounds. So we can see, although she's been injured, if we look at the games prior to that, which were early August 2nd was her last game, she's gone above this line 8 out of 10 times, 80% rate, averaging around 29 per. Last 20, again, 80%, going above this line 16 out of 20 times, averaging 29, median of 32. And then head-to-head, one game this season went a little below. Last season went way above it. And did it in different ways. We can see this first game, only 5 rebounds, but then 31 points. Second time, 10 rebounds, but then 26 points. And then this one was a little more even, but still didn't go above it. And this, you can see, it was a 15-point win, which means it was probably a blowout. And I'm not sure if this is the game that she got in. No, it's not the game she got injured. But we can see that it was a blowout, so she probably left the game early. They probably just took her out, and then the game was a lot worse, and then they just closed the gap a bit. That's probably what happened there, which is why she went under. If the game was closer, she obviously would have went much higher. And we can see that this line, when it came out, it opened at 24.5, went up to 25.5, and then dropped it back down. So keep an eye on that when you make your decisions for this play. And then we can see the Fever when they face solid forwards. We can see that they will hit their lines. Now, we see Alana Smith didn't. We're not going to expect Alana Smith and Napheesa Collier to both hit their lines. If they can stifle Alana Smith, then that means Collier is going to do what she always does, right? But we can see Mora, who is solid, crushed her line. Kiki Irfin crushed her line. Segrist, Alyssa Thomas, Satu Sabali, and then Dearica Hamby was very close. And then Cameron Brink, she just came back from injury, so we're not going to expect her to go too crazy just yet. She's obviously got a long way to go to play on full minutes. But otherwise, most of these forwards have been hitting their lines. And again, this is her second game coming back from injury, so she may be on a minutes restriction, so keep an eye out for that. That's why this is also kind of the third pick. If you feel a little bit cautious, you can drop this one off and play the other two, or you can drop her line if that makes you a little more comfortable. All right, so for today, we had Brittney Sykes, lower than 18.5 points plus rebounds. We had Kelsey Mitchell, higher than 18.5 points. and Napheesa Collier higher than 24.5 points. If you like this breakdown, hit that like button, drop your favorite WNBA plays in the comment, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the daily drops. Let's build that row.